Okay, to Damian Lillard's game.
Yes.
This is why I was so impressed with what he did in the middle of the fourth quarter. Do you realize what a dire circumstance he was in career-wise, legacy-wise, when he came into the game with 10-15 left in the fourth quarter? Do you realize what happened over the first couple of minutes he was in the game in the fourth quarter? He missed his next two shots. He had a turnover. And all of a sudden, guess what was happening? He had now gone over his last 3 games, fourth quarters combined. He had gone 22 clock minutes without making a single field goal. He had gone 7-12 of the Brooklyn game. He had gone the whole fourth quarter, all 12 minutes of the Memphis game. And now he had gone the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter last night without making a field goal.
Right.
That's 22 clock minutes. That's almost like 2 fourth quarters that you have played without scoring a field goal.
Right.
That's dire. And furthermore, he had suffered through a weird drought in the middle of this game because, remember, he went from 4:57 of the second quarter all the way to 7:37 left in the game without making a field goal.
Right.
Do you realize that's almost 2 full quarters of play with no field goals? He started out hot. He scored 15 in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden he went missing. So think about this. He'd gone all those fourth quarter minutes over 3 games without scoring a field goal, and in the middle of this game, he'd gone almost 2 full quarters without scoring a field goal. Don't you think your legacy is teetering just a little bit? You got your great opportunity against LeBron and company, 1 seed versus 8. You've been the hottest player in the bubble. You are the MVP of the bubble, and you better do something. And guess what he finally did? I love this. I was telling you yesterday, I told you last week, I don't care if you get trapped. If you're a superstar, the Lakers were trying to trap with a big at half court. It's absurd to me. Okay, so you're guarded by Alex Caruso. He tries hard, but he's Alex Caruso, right? He's just some guy to me who just tries hard. He plays hard. He's going to dive for loose balls. He cannot guard Damian Lillard.
No.
Okay, so they're trying to trap with a big. So Anthony Davis is kind of running out there trying to do this.
He's cutting from too far, and so he split it.
It's too far, and it's too easy for Anthony Davis's man that he's supposed to be guarding just to come and pick. Just come pick because you're going to have a traffic jam out high, and Damian is obviously quick enough and strong enough. He's just going to beat it. He can get space off that kind of a half-court trap.
You talk about late in the ball game, but AD knows that they had done a great job up until that point, Skip. Instead of just showing, they were hugging up. The bigs were hugging up because if he sees daylight, he's going to rise up and shoot.
But if you see it coming, if Damian sees it and you have the other big that he's guarding come and pick, you can wreak havoc on that kind of a trap. If you're running downhill, which he started doing, he's finally got aggressive and said, I'm just going to shoot these. Well, obviously, he has great range. He has effortless range. So with 7:37 left, he just rose up and made one from 26 feet, and that was to cut it to 3. And that was a big shot just to kind of save the game at that point.
Because, Skip, you know what happened? That was the one that they were the loose ball. And all of a sudden, Nurkic get it, they pass it to him, and the clock is running down.
Okay. And then he gets a little farther with each next shot. The next one comes with 5:46 left, and it's to tie, and this one's from 30 feet. So he goes from 26 feet to 30 feet. Now he's starting to feel it, and he makes it. And all of a sudden he says, okay, let me try for a trio here. And he goes for another 3 with 3:13 left, except this one, he rises up from 36 feet. That's a logo Lillard shot. And that was the biggest shot of the night from Damian because that put them up 3. And all of a sudden, the whole game was tilting back toward Portland. Okay, this is just me. You can say I'm nitpicking, but I told you yesterday I wanted to see him continue to step on a throat, to close the deal the way I saw Jamal Murray two days ago now, the Denver-Utah game. Remember, Jamal, over the last 139 of that game in a shootout with Donovan Mitchell, scored 8 straight points over 139 and then 10 points in overtime to just slam the door on the Utah Jazz. Well, I wanted Dame just to finish it off, but he didn't. He deferred. He took one more shot and missed it. But the biggest shots of the night, the dagger shots, that guy, Melo, who is that guy? Where did he come from? He made a huge shot, and so did the new guy, the new kid, Gary Trent Jr. makes big shots. That's 2:33 left and 1:15 left. Dagger, ball game.
Skip, but when you look at Dame, Skip, he understands the game. He'll take what you give him. Now, he's just not going to like, okay, they did a great job shoveling, funneling to the side, trapping and getting the ball out of the hand. Now, if you leave him in the middle of the court, you're at his mercy because he's going to either split it or he's going to go around the big. And you know you can't just show with him. Mm-hmm. You have to hug up. And if the big that screened you rolls to the basket, well, somebody's going to have to come, make him make the extra pass. But if you don't show, if you don't hug up with him like AD didn't, like Dwight Howard didn't, he's just going to rise up from 35, 36 feet. And Skip, if you watch him in the game, he's hitting in warm-up, he's hitting 6 or 7 of those in a row. So he's feeling very comfortable in that situation. But when he started the fourth quarter on the bench, Skip, that's when the Lakers got to make their move. When your best player is out, the team that's down, or you're up by a little, you make your move and you get some separation. Because they could not get the separation that they... You look at when LeBron goes to the bench. What does the opposing teams do? They get separation. They weren't able to get that kind of separation, and Dame came back in, and it was like he never missed a beat, Skip. He did what you asked him to do. Okay, he went and got 9 points. He got your 2 assists. He had the big mellow. Maybe it was to CJ, but he had a big assist. 2 up with the last one to Nurkic. The game was already over at that point in time. But Skip, he's special. He's a superstar, and he did it. And
what I'm telling you, and you lost track of this, the perspective on it. He was in dire danger of really having a big asterisk on his resume. If he kept going silent in fourth quarters, if he had kept silent in that fourth quarter the way he was, 2 big droughts, there was a lot of pressure on him because he's obviously has high basketball IQ. He knew what was happening, and I applaud him for under the pressure of the circumstance making those 3 shots. He was due, he owed his team, and he gave his team in the middle of the quarter 3 big shots that saved the game.
Skip, he's a small man, but he's a heavyweight. He has one-punch knockout power. He has the ability to hit 1 shot, and what was going on in the first half where he couldn't miss, it recreates that all again. It was like that scramble. He gets the ball, he sidesteps, and he lets it go. The clock goes off, and it swishes. And now he's right back in the rhythm. He has that ability. He has a unique ability. Yes, he can go for stretches where he's not shooting the ball. Other guys are getting involved. Because, Skip, you got to realize he's played for another 42 minutes. He played 43 minutes again. He's been playing 42 minutes a game. So he's coasting. He knows he can't just exert. So he's coasting, seeing where, okay, CJ, you do something. Okay, Melo, you do something. Let's try to get it down to the bigs. Let them handle it. And then he's refreshed. He gets that burst of energy for a 3-minute stretch, and he goes boom, 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 and the game's over.
Okay, but I'm going to remind you again, in that game last night, he went from mid-second quarter to almost mid-fourth quarter without scoring a field goal, and he came through. He came back to life and came through.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Because they built that lead, he could coast because the Lakers were going to have to exert energy to get back in the game. Now, had they been down 16, now you forcing him to expend energy. They're up 16, so he's like, okay, I'm going to pick and choose my spot. We know it's going to take you, 8, 10 minutes to try to come back into this ball game. So even though he's out there for, these were not the 4, because as you mentioned, he went that stretch of 22 minutes where he really didn't do a whole lot offensively. That was the time that the Lakers needed to create some separation between them and the Blazers, and they couldn't do it. Skip, Dwight Howard they're up 6. Dwight Howard get a ticky-tack foul. Dwight, come on, bro.
Offensive foul.
Yes! Skip,
is a killer.
You see how they had been calling the game. Now, you had just gotten away. We're pushing Nurkic. They call it on Nurkic. And I'll be doggone if you don't come right back and do the exact same thing again 5 minutes later. Come on, Dwight. Be smarter than that.
Well, hasn't that been his history?
That's his MO. It's kind of simple, kind of like Donovan Mitchell, Skip. You're up 4. All you got to do is just beat the 8-second clock, and who knows, you're possibly up 6. Instead, you 8 seconds, and now you're only up 1 because they come back and hit a 3. Skip, this is concerning. I was concerned last week with what I saw, but when you shoot 16% from the 3, 35% from the floor, and 64% from the free throw line, you're going to lose.
You know the term snake bitten? That's what they are from three right now. They're snake bitten. They got the demons in the back of their head.
I don't know what they got. But all I know is they're throwing a brick. Skip, these shots, they ain't no rim outs. You know, sometimes Skip, the ball rims out. Skip, these shots are not even close. Guys hitting the corner of the backboard. How the hell you hit the corner of the backboard? You got to aim at the corner to hit the corner and not the rim.
It's like 3 in a row at that point.
I mean, Danny Green, Skip, I just say, can we just, if he hits the rim, we get a point. I'm not saying, just hit the rim.
Do you realize Danny Green in the 2013 NBA Finals set the all-time record for threes made in a finals?
Yes.
That's that guy I lived and died with as a Spur, because it's heaven or hell with Danny Green. And right now, you're stuck in hell.
Well, right now, we've been in hell and purgatory.
Yeah,
we ain't seen no heaven since the first game against the Clippers.
I got it.
Shannon, I hate to say, but Skip did warn you about Danny Green. He's been saying that for a while. All right, we are far from dissecting that game, but I want to move on. Guys, some troubling news from an NBA team broadcaster. We will give you the latest details after the break.